Hello everyone, Kappolo here with Data Doll. I won Skirmish Season 7 and I won the Terra. In this video I will go over the decklist I played, a quick tournament report, and then some tips and tricks on how to play the deck. This video is going to be a bit different than the usual one, since I don't have much time in my life to edit. This is going to be a bit more of a freestyle, maybe a couple of cuts over here and there, but that's all of it. Hopefully it's going to be a good video that you like, and please let me know down in the comments. First, let's start with the deck list. So this is the deck list I played. I originally took it from Helmorto, I think, on February, and the list was given to me by Sir Rabbit from the Team Third, and then I listened to the interview from Thomas Prayer within the Roman, the IO of Ophidia channel, and I made some changes. But this is basically the deck list. So we have a 35 cards main deck and then some options in the sideboard. The main thing is just it's like pretty standard right now with Data Doll. We have our zero attacks in Sprocket Rocket and Fast and Furious that often are attacking for 4 for 0, which adds to the 0 to 60. So it's like we have 3 0 to 60 reds, and then we have Zipper Hit and the usual 0 to 60 in yellow. Since the ban of the Hydron Collider, we added a penetration script that is basically like a small Hydron Collider. I'm not too much of a fan of this. It's good that it's yellow, which helps a tiny bit, but I think I might want to add more of the polarity reversal script that's in the sideboard. So this is mainly the equipment suite since the new addition of the -IO deck. For the armory, we have a new pair of legs that gets you to action point, and it's good because you banish the top 2 cards so you can add extra item, so it's better than the previous boots that are killing accelerators. This headpiece is also good because it blocks for 2 and blocks for 1, so it blocks a total of 3 and can get up to 2 items into play. Then we lost the pistol since Dash is gone, so we have Talishar, and then chess piece Teklo Foundry Heart. If you want tips and tricks on how to play it, especially with Teklo Foundry Heart and sequencing, you can look at my old videos about Data Doll. I will not go too much into the details, but I will add some extra tips and tricks at the end of the video, showcasing the new cards and how to play them. But yeah, this is the main deck. We got, of course, from the new set, the Cerebellum Processor. This is a really good card because it allows you to draw and have 5-6 cards hand turn sometimes if you're good with the banishes. But this is a quick tip and trick. With this, you want to boost and hit a lot of these items with crank, so you get an extra action point, and with the extra action point you can this to draw a card. It's pretty straightforward. Microprocessor is the best card. I covered a bit more in detail in the other video, but you usually want to, if you have an item and an attack, you want to draw and put a card on top. If you have only an attack, you want to opt one to check if you can put an item into top. And if you have only an item in hand, you probably want to try to draw a card and put a card on top, trying to hit an attack. This is the main mode. Convection Amplifier is a good attack to just push in some damage and make you go over, so that the boom grenades hit for so the boom grenade actually hit, because the main plan is to try to hit with the boom grenades. You can overwhelm with damage, but it's sometimes you need to go wide enough or tall enough with Convection Amplifier to be able to hit with boom grenade and sneak in extra damage. That's how I mainly won my games. So as I said, we have 35 cards in the main deck, usual suspects, and then depending on the matchup, you bring in 5 of these cards. quickly go over what cards are for. I mean, we do have this and the Neuron Gloves and the Visitor Model for the Blaze matchup. And if you have single Rune Blade, just play the Neuron Gloves. But basically, this Dumpster Dive and Underloop, depending on what you want to play. I've actually been using Dumpster Dive in the main deck and use the Outpace in the sideboard, because sometimes this, if you play against people that want to block with equipment using bringing Outpace, like against Guardian. So I actually moved Outpace from the main deck instead of Dumpster Dive, but that's about it. So, like quickly explaining what all these cards do or what matchup. Stasis Cell is for matchups where people want to block with equipment, like Civic Steps, or like, I mean, this mainly comes in against Guardians and Warriors. Fuel Injector, I added an extra blue in respect to most of other lists just because of Blaze, because this is good to hit. You get another extra resource for the Arcane Barrier, or if you don't, you have another blue to pitch for Arcane Barrier. So this is a good resource, and against Blaze, this is Destruction Sphere. This is against like once there's damage, like Zen and Rune Blades. And this is TikTok for the matchup against Mechanologist. TikTok Clock is not that good against Dash database, just because it's kind of hard to hit their item, but it's really good against Data Doll. So if you expect a lot of Data Doll, play two of them. I saw somebody with Data Doll at asking for cards for the event, so I packed two of them. I think in the future I probably want to play with two Polarity Reversal Script against decks that I want to block or they have to block. This card is really good. I was a big fan of this even before the Dash.io Armory deck, and now it's even better. And then Under the Loop, just against Fatigue, we probably put in them this almost every single time. And then you can also see, I've seen Solis playing with T-Bones. T-Bones are good if you play against Zen, Azalea, decks that rely on their Blade equipment. I did not expect many, so I did not play T-Bone. You can put in T-Bone instead of something if you want expect that in your tournament, in your skirmish. But this is like the deck is pretty straightforward. I'll put a link in the comments. And now just let's check out the tournament report. Like an hour drive from where I live, and I didn't know how to sign up. I tried to reach them, and there was like no sign up link. And I arrived there, and I actually got there, and I was in the wait list. So I had to wait to people not to show up to actually get to play. The tournament was 24 people. I think that was capped, or maybe one person at the buy, so maybe 23 people showed up. The first round, play against Boltin. It's pretty easy matchup, I think. I just like they need to use another card to charge, so like they were at really rough to like push some damage, and after I set up, I was able to overwhelm them. Round 2, I play against an aggressive Bravo. I was always on the back foot. I got like Spinal Crush and Crippling Crush, basically back to back for like 4 turns in a row, and then I died. The equipment is good to stop 1 crush attack, maybe 2 if you're lucky with some items, but yeah. I lost round 2. Round 3, I played against Dash Database. I think this is actually a very good matchup for Data Doll. And this was pretty straightforward. Just was able to set up more item and protect some life with the various equipment and the Dissipation Shield and the Mini Force Field. And the TikTok Clock, I brought them both of them in, and in both cases they did not do anything. So yeah, that's probably why I want to cut one at least. I don't know how popular this data doll is gonna be in the future, but for now, I'll probably put one in the sideboard and keep one sleeved up for somebody else. Choose up with data doll. Round 4, I play against Counter Blessing Bravo. I did put my opponent at 11 after they played all 6 counts of Counter Blessing. I don't know how much life it is. I probably do some math and put like some graphic here maybe. But yeah, that's taking a lot of life, and I was still able to put them at 11, but I ran out of cards and I died. Then round 5, just a regular Bravo. I just was able to get set up and be proactive with the equipment and blocking the few crush effects that I cared about, and I just set up white turns and was able to finish this match. It felt very easy in respect to the other two, the Aggro Bravo and the Counter Blasting Bravo. I don't know what's the difference between the decks. It felt very similar to the Aggro Bravo, but probably was not as aggressive as the other one. So with this, the Swiss was over. I finished 7, which meant that I had to be basically on playing second every single game. And also I played second every single game in the Swiss. So I always play second on a deck that highly relies on playing first. This kind of speaks of the power of the deck. So we get into top 8. I face Blaze. There were like 3 Blazes in the top 8. I think the top 8 was like 2 Bravos, 3 Blazes, Florian, me with Data Doll, Arachnid Solitary Confinement. I think that's it. But yeah, basically top 8 was full of Blaze. I played Blaze on the first round of top 8. I think I won in 2 turns. I was able to like stifle a lot of the damage with the blues I had in hand when I was trying to go off, and then just being aggressive is probably the best way to beat Blaze, because they need to block, and if you made them block, they have less cards to deal damage to you. Also, one thing I want to say about the Blaze matchup, I've seen people playing Signal Jammer into Blaze. I do not believe that Signal Jammer is a good card into Blaze, just because most of the time it's just like they block with 2 cards and then pitch 1 card to deal like a damage with Opt and then the Waning Moon. So yeah, things don't play Signal Jammer if you can. I mean, I guess it's probably okay since instead of the fuel injector, but I just like the ability to have fuel injector in play to pay for an extra arcane barrier. Sorry for the background noise, I don't know what's going on outside. But then we go to the top 8 Blaze in like 2-3 turns. We go to the top 4 semifinals. I played against another Blaze. This was a bit more grindy of a matchup. I think I won in like 5 or 6 turns, but I was able to keep on the pressure, having them block, and kind of play like the game of like, you're not doing anything, I'm gonna arsenal this card, and sometimes I was arsenaling like a red attack, so it was not really a good bluffing of having a blue for Arcane Barrier, but it was a good detriment. One thing, like this Blaze player played with proxies, they're fabled, but actually proxies, and it didn't own the one, so it was kind of weird. But besides that, it was a cool sport and I enjoyed playing against this player. And then in the final we get back to Counter Blessing Bravo. This is the same guy that beat me in round 4. The final was, I also was rushing because I was late to a dinner and I was trying to get quick done as soon as possible. I was ready to concede on turn 3 if they were able to play like a couple of Counter Blessing and my Talishar was gone. So just like played a bit kind of recklessly. It's like I need to, I mean, there is no way around. It's like you need to be very, very aggressive and try to kill them before they are able to put out with all the Counter Blessings, and also they were playing also Sigil of Solace. So the game starts kind of bad they were on the play, and they gained 6 life with a counter blessing and a sigil of solace, and my hand was only items. But I was able to break the legs to set up the microprocessor plus another item. I don't remember which item it was. And also I hit the cerebellum processor out of breaking the boots. So I set up a bit more for the next turn. Then the second turn they gain a bit more life. And in my second turn I was able to hit the other microprocessor. And then I just like went to town, went just crazy, hit a lot of item, be really aggressive. My boom grenades were hitting, was throwing cards, having X action point. If data dog goes off, really goes off, which is very, very nice. I had this is it, and then I was able to win, getting my nice cold foil Terra, which is nice because I've been having also fun with Terra and Blitz. So I will be playing a bit more Terra going forward, because this is the only skirmish I could play, and in the armory I'm gonna probably play some Terra, and we'll see what else. But also you should check out my Terra deck. That has been a blast playing it at the armories. And then let's just talk about some tips and tricks for you to understand and how to play this deck a bit better. So as I said, I think like Swindle Jammer is a trap in this deck. It kind of just doesn't work too well against Blaze. So Fuel Injector, if you want an extra blue thing, is slightly better, and that's what I liked having. But let's see, like these are like some of the play patterns that like the new cards kind of allow. One thing with Cerebellum processors, you want to be able to draw cards to extend your turns or to Arsenal, and you need to be able to make use of draw cards. Sometimes I play like Cerebellum processor, not crank it, and just leave it in play. And then the turn after, when you try to go off, one thing is to play, when you play like Backup Protocol Red, or Boom Grenades, or the Dissolving Sheets, when you hit those from your boosts, these are your premier cards to get an extra action point so you can draw with Cerebellum processor and extend the chain, because as I said in the deck tech, you want to hit with the Boom Grenades. This is basically your main game, is like hit with Boom Grenades. And this deck is a bit more consistent. Also, Backup Protocol Red has been really good at actually giving you extra gas and like being able to set up again and go. So it had the consistency. I did not play Backup Protocol Red in my previous iteration, but in this version, being able to draw an extra card with Cerebellum processor during the turn if you hit this from the boost, and just being able to get a Fast and Furious, which has is another 0 to 60 if you cranked, and you can crank the Backup Protocol Red. And also if this is banished, you can put Sting Counter. I've never actually banished this, which is kind of funny. I mean, at least not in the tournament. But yeah, you can like put some counters on like the items that matter. I would not put like counters on like Backup Protocol Red, but you can probably put a counter on the Cerebellum processor, maybe Penetration Script, maybe Polarity Reversal Script. Those are like the ones that you kind of want to keep around for a bit more if you can. Which brings to like Plasma Mainline, which I liked a lot in the past. I feel like we don't have the luxury to durdle that much anymore with Plasma Mainline, and usually Plasma Mainline was like a bit more for the win more card. It rarely mattered that the extra counter would actually win you the game, unless it was probably on the Polarity Reversal script. One thing also to note is that use the equipment as soon as you can, but when it makes sense. The heavy industry surveillance, this is like, if you can boom turn 0, you probably have to block with this if they attack. and your opponent should attack because your hand can be garbage and it's like 3 damage to your face. We block with this, try to hit some items. Then the Heavy Industry gear shift is pretty good if you can able to maybe opt and find an item on top. But being able to like play the microprocessor, for example, and activate it in the same turn is very big, because before you kind of cannot play microprocessor, you kind of only can hit it, because if you play it your turn is over and you lose out on a lot of damage. So use the boots to set up the microprocessor, or like processor, the cerebellum processor and something else. It's usually what you want to do is like in the first turn, because I feel like afterwards, like, I mean, when you draw it, you can probably play it, but afterwards it's more of a race, and like you don't need extra action point most of the time, which is actually kind of nice since we cannot use the pistol to attack for more times. We have to play Talishar, but since we don't use much the extra action points, the extra action points are gonna be only to like draw a card with Cerebellum Processor and go ahead, or activating microprocessor a second time and go ahead, or like set up microprocessor, activate it, and then go off. And I think pretty much it's like, if you look at my other videos, you kind of understand a bit more like the play pattern. But basically, like, the ideal turn is like play a boost attack, paying with like a yellow or a blue. Usually you can pay with a red too, into activate Foundry Heart to banish 2 cards on the top, and then attack with Talishar. That's basically like the main mini loop that you want to do. And in this loop, of course, you have ability to opt items to the top, do more attack, draw more cards, but basically the main loop is like boost Foundry Heart Talishar. This is your bread and butter of turn, and you build from here, like before, a bit in the middle, a bit at the end, whatever works better for you. Also, yeah, this Patient Shield is very good. And also, I find the Dissolving Shield to be pretty good too. I played also the other one, I forgot the name of it, to prevent damage, but I've been liking this because you basically use 2 steam counters to prevent the first 2 damage, and then you galvanize it away with adaptive plating. But yeah, I think that's it for the tips and tricks. There's not much. If you look at the other videos, you probably have a better understanding. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this different kind of deck tech from my side. And good luck in your skirmish good luck in your skirmish season, and let me know how it goes. And if you play it at all, please let me know. Bye bye.